I don't think there are 15 teams that can win the national title. I think there's about 4, maybe 5.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Hyperbolic was McElroy with 15. I'm probably a little the bat with 5 because I do think Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, and Clemson are the best teams, and we'll get there when we climb to number 1. But yes, Alabama, if Ty Simpson is really good, they're loaded everywhere else. We're going to talk about Georgia today at number 8 in our countdown. LSU, we've talked about the portal investment they've made around Garrett Nussmeier and Brian Kelly. I think they are a team that has enough talent to win the national title if things break their way. I do agree with that. So I would say there's probably 7 to 8.
That's exactly the number. When he was saying it, I was looking through the teams. I think it's 7 or 8.
Yeah. And look, I don't think there's a Big 12 team who can – I think a Big 12 team will for sure make the playoff. But can they win the national championship?
Yeah, he said Illinois.
I'm leaning no on that.
Illinois not winning the national championship.
No. Again, welcome to college football 2025 and into 26. But, Arizona State almost beat Texas and played in the Final Four last year. Yeah. But would they have beaten Ohio State? I don't think so. But either way, the best teams are going to rise as they always have. But, again, this is more and more becoming like the NFL where – the best team all year doesn't always win the Super Bowl. But Philadelphia did last year. They were the best team all year and then won the Super Bowl. Kansas City has. So, again, it's like saying of 32 NFL teams that 7 could win the Super Bowl. I don't know that that's the number. I think it's lower than that. But at the same time, can you make the playoffs, make a run, and get close? Point of Greg McElroy's point, I believe, is that it's wide open. It's wide open. Whereas last year, the prohibitive favorite was Ohio State. I think the year before, the prohibitive favorite was Michigan as far as talent, and they both won the national championship. This year, Texas is the favorite. But is it prohibitive? They've got more questions than what Ohio State had a year ago, but they do have to answer offensive line. Speaking of that, before we wrap up our opening tip, I want to hear from some of the Longhorns, because yesterday after practice, we got to hear from the leaders of the Longhorns, Arch Manning, also the preseason All-American inside linebacker Anthony Hill, and his fellow preseason All-American safety and returning starter Michael Taaffe. Let's hear from Arch. How is Texas and how is he specifically handling the hype, handling what goes on outside the building? We know there's a lot of it. Here's Arch Manning in a very casual Arch Manning way. How are things going, and how are you handling all the outside noise?
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Being ranked before the season even starts doesn't mean anything. I don't even know how they get those opinions, but I feel like we do a good job of keeping the main thing, trying to get better every day and go win some games.
All right, so there it is. That's how quick he says things, man. He's got the right answer. That doesn't mean anything. He's right. He's 100% right, and I don't think he's being glib or short. He's just doesn't mean a damn thing. We got to go win. Being preseason, all this is great. I don't even know how they get those things. Anthony Hill. He comes back from a team that's he's been a part of this team that's gone to the Final Four the last 2 years as a freshman when they lost to Washington in the Sugar Bowl. He was a stud sophomore when they lost last year, heartbreakingly to Ohio State, and now he's one of the junior leaders of this defense. Here is Anthony Hill on how this team and this defense are handling the hype.
Of course we see it because we're all on the same end of this job, but we kind of ignore it and kind of just focusing on us and just try to focus on what we need to do every day to be the best team we can be.
Is it hard to ignore the outside noise?
It's not really hard to ignore it. If you just focus on what you need to do every day, coming to practice, we had a hard practice today. Just focus on that, then get ready for tomorrow. Watch the film, and you don't really want to look at all the hype. And that's when you get caught up in it and just ruins your focus. All
right, so here, there's Anthony Hill. Same kind of thing, right? Tune it out. Are you buying this, Jack? You think these guys are tuning this out? I do. I think this is a team with a chip on its shoulder and a mission. It's like they won it last year, and they're coming back not trying to be complacent and get overconfident. They have a mission. That's a mission mindset when you hear them. They haven't achieved the mission yet. And if you go back 2 years ago, the mission was to win the Big 12 on their way out, right? And They did that. And people thought it was that's the fact that they won that and they got to the Final Four was kind of like gravy. Last year the mission was to, assimilate to the SEC, handle the rigors of an SEC schedule, and they did that well, and they made it to the Final Four. This year the goal is to win the national title. No one is backing down from that. I don't know that was the mission last year. It was certainly a goal. The mission this year is win the national title. Let's hear one more here. You'll hear the question of Anthony Hill about Arch Manning, because that's part of being in the Arch Manning mania frenzy. is you get asked about it a lot. You're not even a Arch Manning, and you get asked about it. You see it everywhere, and you're his teammate and you're his buddy. Here is the question of how do you think Arch Manning is handling it, and what's it like being a teammate?
How's Arch able to handle that? Because he can't even walk 5 feet without somebody trying to get autographs, photos. How's he handling all that hype?
He's been doing a good job. I mean, he stays focused every day. I mean, he's the first one in here, last one out every day. So he's doing a good job preparing and getting ready for the big games.
All right, so first one in, last one out. And one more, and then we'll get to the timeout. We'll come back. We'll pick this up in the Horns at half past. Also get the Ohio State side of the game in 10 days. But here's Michael Taaffe, right? He is the best buddy of one Arch Manning. And I remember at SEC Media Days last month, those two guys are yucking it up, and I asked both of them who's the most competitive player on the team, and both said the other. And they play golf with one another and compete in pretty much everything. But listen to Michael Taaffe when asked about this. And remember, he's an All-American, okay, right? He's the All-American. Arch Manning's not. And here, listen to this, Jack. This is pretty funny from Michael because, he's taking a jab at Arch Manning because he's an All-American and Arch is not. This goes to that competitive nature of the two best buddies.
Is he an All-American?
You're an All-American.
I don't
He's
know.
not. You're an All-American.
I just wanted to clear that one up.
I wanted to clear that one up. That's pretty funny. He's got a Riger, and he's kidding, of course. But is he an All-American? I don't think so. That'd be me. And preseason, which he also was an All-American at the end of last season, which is what really matters. But he expanded on Arch and how he handles it.
It's really cool to have somebody so grounded, have all this attention. I mean, I would hate for it if it was the other way where he really liked the attention, but he doesn't really like it. We had an opportunity that I'm going to keep closed to go be in some media thing that was going to be really, really cool. I was kind of excited about it selfishly, but he was like, I want to stay out of the media right now. So we turned it down, but that's just who he is. He just cares about ball, and that's really it.
That's a cool little anecdote right there that they had an opportunity. Sounds like he had 16 and 16 and buddies and whatever the media opportunity was and whatever the promotional idea was. You could see the gleam in Michael's eyes, like that might be kind of cool. And Arch said, no, shut that down. Shut that down. We're not doing that. We don't need any extra hype, right? We don't need to put kerosene on the hype. We're good. We're going to get plenty of it regardless. And that's a great answer from Michael Taaffe. He jabbed at his buddy, but at the same time, it's great to be around someone who just doesn't want it. He can't avoid it because he is who he is, but literally his DNA, his mindset does not want the attention.
Yeah, and we see that with his uncles a little bit, just how self-deprecating they are. We see that same thing with Arch, where just in all of the media, he has this very aw shucks nature about him. And I think with the hype of this team, like confidence and arrogance are kind of two sides of the same coin. And there's the kind of hype where you start to believe it, and you're like, yeah, I can just walk in and beat anybody. That's one thing, but it seems like this team, the hype is more lending to belief in oneself and the want and the desire to go and run through a brick wall.
Yeah, well, and I don't think you're ever going to find Michael Taaffe as overconfident, as a walk-on who has to work for everything.
Chip on shoulder.
And there's the people now doubting him that he's moving to the slot. Is he athletic enough and fast enough to be in the slot? And those are the kind of things that drive that young guy. He's been told he can't, even back when he was a two-time state champion MVP in the state championship game at Westlake. That's not going to be the case. And that's what's kind of cool about the three guys we just heard from. Arch Manning, first guy in, last guy out. He goes about his business like a walk-on, even though he's Arch Manning. Anthony Hill was a 5-star, number one player in the country, number one player in the state. And by all accounts, all he does is put his head down and go to work. They're a very humble group, which, the DNA of that team is not to buy the hype. They want to work, and that's a good sign. We'll obviously follow it. It is the most hyped Texas football team of all time, and we are now 10 days to the opener with Ohio State, 3 days to the start of the college football season.